AskReddit by Benefit Distinct 2812. People who overcame depression. What is the single most important piece of advice to tell someone struggling with depression? Depression lies to you. Don't listen to it. You are worth it, people do like you, and you can do it. If you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. Only way out is through. And you will get out. For me, the hardest part was forgiving myself. The second hardest was asking for help. When you can do both and give it time, you get through. I know it's hard to believe at the time, but it gets better is 100% true. I can't imagine it's useful advice, though, because it cannot be believed. I wouldn't say I overcame depression, but you need to learn to live with it and find someone to talk to. I've had chronic depression for over 25 years and was always looking for a cure in my 20s and had unrealistic expectations of what therapy was going to do for me. I've accepted my mood baseline is at a 3 out of 10 instead of a 5, like it is for most people. I'm never going to be a motivated and ambitious person. I just try to do the few things I enjoy regularly and get out situations that make me too miserable. Getting outside once a day is key as well. I remember talking to a counselor after my first major episode and realizing that happy is not my baseline. Spent so long trying to figure out why and how to fix it before just making peace with that fact. Rather than chasing someone else's idea of normal, figuring out what my baseline was and what my highs and lows were helped me manage later episodes. That and getting out of the house at least once a day. Mindfulness training. My depression was mostly based on anxious feelings about the past, stuff that already happened that I can't control. Moving my sense of life to the present moment helped. Lots of people aren't actually looking around at their life, they are seeing a projection based on their spiraling train of thought. Your problems don't need to go away, you need to go away from constantly dwelling on them. For me, I know the things that help me get out of a depressive episode: exercising, eating well, doing hobbies I enjoy, seeing friends, family. It's hard when you're in one to convince yourself that anything will work or to even try. The biggest breakthrough I've had is to force myself to just do those things anyway, even if it feels pointless or hard. Don't drink alcohol. It may seem to help, but it really makes it a lot worse. Sometimes depression is part of how you are wired as a human. Take medical help and do self-care religiously. Accepting that you have depression is one major step to recovery. Medication. For the love of all that is holy, medication. The first one you get might not work exactly, nor the second, but you just continue until one of them or some combo of them works for you, and fuck me, the brain is saved. Doesn't help. I've tried around 30. If you need to rest, take a rest. Rest, don't quit. Don't give up. Eventually you will find something that works. Be open-minded, that something might be psilocybin. Honestly? To tell people to go fuck themselves. I still struggle with it. But during a depression wave, all logical thoughts and tips are useless. The most important thing that you must do is hang in there. Don't give in to whatever dark thoughts are going through your sick brain. Cling to your sanity with all your might until the wave passes. This is my first time hearing depression wave, and that's a perfect description of it. It does seem to come in like a wave out of nowhere. Sometimes 1 second I'm smiling and laughing, then moments later I'm back in this dark spot caught in the riptide pulling me under. Not sure if it was full-blown depression, but exercise and sunlight helped me a lot. Deleted. That saying got me through some of the hardest times in my life. A powerful thing indeed. It never goes away. It doesn't get cured, you just learn to ride the waves. Just know that as much as there's times where you feel like you're drowning in feelings, there's also times your head is going to be well above water. Yes. Understanding that depression isn't logical is the best weapon against it. If you have negative thoughts, write them down and review them after a week. If you have evidence to the contrary or none at all, then it's just intrusive thoughts from your emotional mind as opposed to logical thoughts from your rational mind. Don't kill yourself. I tried to and I'm very grateful I failed. It will get better. The main reason that kept me from going through with my suicidal urge was reading about failed suicide attempts and how people instantly regretted it once they went for the kill, in lack of a better phrasing. Like the guy who jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge. As soon as he jumped he regretted it, and thought how minor his problems really were and he didn't want to die. Don't give up. If a professional has given up on you, it's because they are ignorant, not knowledgeable. Find a different professional. If the pills didn't work, then maybe you don't need pills, one doc said after I tried one kind. For me it was a combination of psychological therapy and the right pills. It did end up taking about 22 years, but I got there. Unfortunately, going off the pills is a very bad idea, but I'm okay with that. Do not waste more of your life fighting against taking meds. And advocate for yourself. Always. And do not stop trying to find the best medication for you until you find one that works, in conjunction with therapy, exercise, meditation, vitamins. The reason there are so many meds is because people respond differently and there are combos that can work wonders. Do not settle for half a life. Therapy and psilocybin. Most people won't understand your depression. They may understand depression. They may understand sadness. They may understand much worse depression than yours. It's yours. It's your battle to fight. You have lots of allies, but none of them understand what is in your head exactly. You need to find your own tools to fight it, and live with it. And X200B. Don't ever listen to anyone that says they choose not to be depressed or I was depressed. I got out of it by being happy. Those people are assholes. And X200B. There are a lot of us out there that have it. Please, don't be afraid to reach out. It will get better. Get a pet, something to care for to give you a tangible purpose. Don't isolate yourself. Though it feels like that's what will feel better, it'll be much worse if you're not connected to people you love. Sleep. Regular, good sleep. Have real and meaningful internal dialogue, and stop trying to distract yourself from your own thoughts all day every day. As uncomfortable as it might be at first, your brain is not going to stop making you feel the way you do until you address the issues. When I say real and meaningful dialogue, that means talking to yourself the way you might talk to a good friend in a similar situation. Don't just ask yourself surface questions. Follow up those questions with deeper ones. Really dig into exactly what's getting you down. Once you identify those issues, then you need to identify the steps you need to take in order to correct your situation. Then start taking steps. They can be itty bitty baby steps if that's all you can get yourself to do, to change your situation. Note: there are plenty of people out there whose depression is a purely medical issue and should be treated as one. But I think the majority of depressed folks are depressed because of their circumstances. Not everything can be changed and fixed, but there are usually steps that can be taken, sometimes big, scary, but still necessary ones, to get your mental wellness back on track.